Well, hello there and welcome all to the Alpha Male 2.0 podcast. And I'm Caleb Jones. And I'm a little freaked out, although now things are okay because about an hour ago, 2 hours ago, I don't remember, I had a notification on my email saying, you can now check in for your flight to Mexico. I'm in Dubai right now. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? So I looked at my schedule. I have a very specific system for my travel, and looked at my schedule, and I didn't see anything. I didn't see I was leaving for Mexico, and I know I'm going to Mexico, but I didn't think I was going in 2 days. And I looked on my phone, like, well, maybe there was an issue, and my phone looks at several different schedules besides what I see on my computer. And sure enough, on my phone, there was a thing saying I leave for Mexico from Dubai on Thursday, and today, as I record this, is a Tuesday, and I'm like, oh shit, that's in 48 hours. When you travel internationally and you're gone for weeks and weeks at a time, you got to get certain things done before you leave. Certain things you have to do in your house, and you got to get your laundry done. And you don't want gross laundry for to sit in your laundry, your hamper for 3, 4, 5 weeks. That's not good. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I had to start running around. I said, am I actually? And so I was going to contact the woman who does my travel in my business because I don't manage my travel. I outsource that. And, but she was asleep. So I'm like, oh, shit, I have to wait till she wakes up because she's in, North American time zone. And anyway, I just talked to her, and she's like, actually, no, you're not. You're not going. You're going next week. I said, okay, thank God. So I actually had to contact a few people in Dubai. Actually, I might be gone for a few weeks starting in 2 days. So we need to get the thing we were supposed to get done. We should get that done a little sooner. And I was getting stuff delivered to the house and all kinds of shit. Anyway, the life of the international lifestyle. What I'm going to do, if you're curious, is that I'm going back to Mexico to work on residency there for, I'll be back there for about a week with Pink Firefly, and then I will be in Paraguay for about another week after that. Then I'm back in Dubai, for the rest of the month of October and then November. And then in mid-November, November 15th-ish, I am flying to the United States, and I will be in the United States for 30 days, an entire month in the U.S., and I am not looking forward to it. Why am I doing it? Well, I got family and shit. So I'll be there for my wife's birthday, Thanksgiving with my family, maybe my son's birthday, various other things. And then December 15th, I come back to Dubai. Thank God. I will be so itching to get back here after a month in the United States. Oh my God, I don't know if I can do it. Anyway, come back to Dubai with Pink Firefly, and then we'll celebrate Christmas and New Year's here. And pretty cool. So that'll be interesting. So I should probably get to the topic of this podcast. That's kind of why I'm here. There is a point of confusion about dominant men or alpha male men and or dominant women and how they relate to people in their lives sexually, as opposed to how they relate to people out in their personal life or in their friend, social circle life or their work life and things like that. So I'll give you a few examples. So one is, I can give you a lot of examples, actually. I'll give you a few. So here's one example. I was talking to a guy a while back, and he's a beta male. He's not an alpha male, beta male. Nice guy, sweet guy. And he was talking to me about how he has sex with women. And he says, and he was kind of embarrassed, like, I like to pin girls. I said, huh? He's like, during sex, I like to pin girls, I like to pin them. I said, pin girl? What is this? Is this some new millennial thing I haven't caught up on because I'm too old? What the fuck is this? The only thing I know of a pinning is like in the 50s when you take the girl out to the fancy dance, the fish under the sea dance or whatever, and you'd pin her, you put the corsage on her dress, back before America was collapsing. And so I'm like, what do you mean by pinning? He goes, well, what I like to do is grab a woman's arm, I like to put her down the bed, like face down the bed, and I take her arm and shove it behind her back, and I push it down, and I pin her, and I fuck her. And I said, great, sounds good to me. What's the problem? I don't see a problem with that. You should hear the shit I do. That sounds good to me. Great. He's like, yeah, but, and he's kind of confused. He's like, but I'm a nice person. And I've never hurt anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody. I've never hurt in my life. And he was right. He was a total beta. This is not an alpha male. So he was different during sex than he was for the rest of his life. Outside of sex, he was a different person than what he was during sex, right? Another example. I had years ago, there are many women from my past I could use as this example, but this is one that comes to mind, is I dated a woman as an MLTR for years, really serious relationship, someone I really liked a lot. Really liked a lot. Matter of fact, she was one of the women we had judge some of the online dating profiles when we used to do online dating profile contests like 10 years ago at my blogs. And she was one of the pretty girls who we used to do that. And she was a regional manager for Starbucks. Regional manager, not she managed a Starbucks. She was the regional manager. She managed, I think, 6 or 7 locations. So every day she was in different locations, bossing people around. And she was in terms of dominant, submissive, independent, she was an independent with dominant tendencies. She was independent. So this was a very strong, confident, reasonably dominant woman. And so at work, she was always the boss, telling people what to do, running the show. In her social life, she had lots of friends, lots of lesbian friends. And they were my friends too, because we hung out together. We were dating. And she was kind of in charge of them too. She was kind of the ringleader. So she was always in charge. But during sex, just during sex, she needed to be completely dominated. And she actually explained it to me. She verbalized this to me, although I already knew it about her because we'd already been seeing each other for a while. She said, look, I am the boss all day long. All day long, I'm telling people what to do. I am telling women what to do. I'm telling men what to do in my work. Then I hang with my friends. I tell them what to do and I run the show. And during sex, I need to be completely dominated. I need to be completely railed. That was the word she used, was railing. I need a man to just fucking rail me. And the reason I like you so much, Caleb, is because that's what you do. I dated other men and they're like, oh, is that okay? Can I do this? Can I kiss you? Is that okay? And she's like, oh, gross. I need a man who just fucks me up during sex and throws me around and tells me what to do and orders me around. And that's what you do. And it's fucking great. So again, we have another example of someone who was a completely different person when she was having sex than she was outside of sex. So outside of sex, she was one way. During sex, she was the opposite way, right? You have heard stories of, and I have heard detailed accounts of, because I have talked to these men and I have talked to some of the women these men have sex with, of men who are wealthy, powerful, high-end alpha male CEOs of companies, okay? Ass kickers, alpha male 1.0s, hardcore alphas, right? But then they hire these women to be dominatrixes, and they hire these women sometimes on secret arrangements. Sometimes they hire hookers to do this, professional like dominatrix chicks, DOMs they call them, right? In BDSM, which is not a word I'm into, but right? And they hire these women who are dressed in these black leather outfits, and they hire these women to tie the men up and like spit on them and like call them names and whip them, and in some cases piss on them, poop on them, okay? And these guys love it. They love it. They love it. Now, outside of sex, they'd hate it. They need to be in charge. They're alpha male 1.0s. They need to be in charge. But during sex, they need to be a total submissive pussy and have someone completely dominate them. So there's another example of someone who is one way outside of sex and a completely different way during sex. I will give you my example. I've said this before. I am the anti-alpha male 1.0. I am the opposite. I'm an alpha male, but I am the opposite of the alpha male 1.0. The alpha male 1.0, his goal in life is to be heard. People need to pay attention to him and acknowledge him and say, yes, you are right, Dan. Yes, you are right. You have a yes. And they need to control people. Everyone in their life needs to be under their control. Their girlfriend or wife needs to do exactly what she's fucking told at all times. At work, people need to do exactly what they tell them or they get really fucking mad. Their friends, they need to be in charge of whatever their friends are doing. They have to be in charge all the time. And if they're not in charge, they get fucking pissed. And or if they are in charge and people don't do what they're told, they're fucking pissed. So as I've talked about in great detail, including in my primary book, The Unchained Man, at alphamalebook.com, they're alpha males, so they have some happiness, but they live up and down lives. They're either happy or they're furious all the time. All the fucking time. Alpha male 1.0s, because no one does their told. It's not how life works. And I am the opposite of that. I literally do not give a rat fuck of what anyone does, including my own wife. I don't care what she does. I don't give a shit. I'm too busy working on my own shit to care about what you're doing. In terms of business, yes, I have business goals. Yes, I want customers, but I don't care about any one customer. I tell my customers to fuck off all the time. all the time on my content, my blogs, my videos. I say, if you don't need me, you don't like my stuff, fuck the fuck off. Unsubscribe, get the fuck out of here. I don't need you. I don't care. When I was a consultant, I said, look, this is how I work. And if you don't like working with me that way, you can go work somewhere else. I don't care. I don't need your money. I really don't. I really don't. Literally, I don't. So I'm very outcome independent. On a scale of 1 to 10, my outcome independence is 11. I just don't give a rad fuck. I don't need to control anyone. I have no desire to control anyone, because if you got to control somebody, that means you have to spend time controlling that person. Then you have to monitor that person, make sure that person's doing what they're told. Then when, not if, when that person doesn't do what they're told, you have to go correct them and have a big argument. Say, you're not supposed to, why'd you do that? You're supposed to do this. Show me your phone. I want to know where you were. I don't have time for that bullshit. I'm a man on a mission. I got a lot of shit to do. I'm not to manage you or manage women or manage people. Yes, I have a staff, but guess what? I don't manage my staff. Someone else manages my staff. I outsource the management of my staff. I don't want to manage people. I want to work on my shit so I can make money. I don't want to manage people. It's the last thing I want to do. So I'm the opposite of the alpha male 1.0 in that respect. But, however, during sex, I am the biggest alpha male 1.0 on planet Earth. Now, I do not do BDSM. I'm not into that stuff. That just doesn't turn me on. Whipping chicks with whips and shit. And, that just doesn't turn me on. And if that turns you on, wonderful. Do what you like. Fuck the way you like. I've been saying that for 15 years. I don't like it. It's not in me. But in terms of sex, I am the biggest alpha male 1.0 you've ever seen in your life during sex. So I tell women exactly what to do, and they better do what they're fucking told during sex. And they do. Obviously, I don't have sex with women who don't like that style of sex. So if a woman doesn't like that, she quickly leaves me. That's only happened a few times. I've told a few of those stories, pretty funny. I mentioned once, I won't tell you the whole story, but I mentioned once about a woman who, online dating, non-sugar daddy, she was about 23 years old. And while we were talking online, she's like, why don't you just come over to my apartment right now? I'm like, wait, what? This never happens, or rarely. She's like, yeah, come on over. And that means come on over and fuck me. I'm like, all right. She goes, bring wine. All right, great. That means she wants to fest. And we did. I went right over to her apartment, and I guess I'm telling the whole story. I'll just summarize it really quick. Went over to the apartment, and it was like a guy lived there. There were like pictures of like superheroes on the wall. It was her apartment. She wasn't hiding. She wasn't like using it for something else. It was her apartment. She was a very masculine woman. She had long hair. She was pretty, but she was very masculine, very tough. She worked at a woman's prison. She was a goddamn prison guard. So that tells you right there. And we had sex, and she hated having sex with me because she was telling me what to do the whole time. I'm like, oh no, this isn't gonna work. She's like, lay down, shut up. I'm like, no, I'm gonna tell you to lay down and you're gonna shut up. So we did not work. I never saw her again. Nice person, but totally sexually incompatible. I've done podcasts in the past and articles in the past about sexual compatibility. Anyway, classic example of someone who's not compatible with me. But anyway, my bigger point is I am during sex a very different man than I am outside of sex. As soon as I'm done having sex with a woman, I'm done telling her what to do, I am right back to happy Caleb Alpha Male 2.0, and now I don't give a shit what she does, and I never tell women what to do ever. And that is a literal truth. You can ask my wife. I do not tell women what to do ever, including my own wife. I don't tell her what to do. What I do state, the Alpha Male 2, how he differs from Alpha Male 1.0 is that the Alpha Male 2.0, the Alpha Male 1.0 gives orders and instructions and commands. The Alpha Male 2.0 states preferences. So the Alpha Male 1.0 says, you will do this. You better fucking do this. The Alpha Male 2.0 says, you can do whatever you want. I don't care. But if you do this and this, probably not going to hang out with you because I only have so much time. So I have to make a judgment call on where I spend my time. So if you do this and this, I'm probably going to go hang out with Susie instead of you. But do whatever you want. I don't care what you do. Fine. So I don't tell women what to do ever. Unless I'm right in the middle of having sex with one, then I'm telling her exactly what to do. And I'm the biggest, bossiest son of a bitch. I throw women around. That's just what I like. So that is yet another example of someone who is radically different during sex than he or she is outside of sex. And that is the point of this podcast, is that a lot of people seem to misunderstand, well, an alpha male can't be submissive during sex. Oh, yes, he can. He may actually prefer it. Or a strong, dominant woman, a Hillary Clinton type woman, would obviously be a dominant during sex, right, Caleb? Wrong. Most of those women probably want to be dominated more than the cute little wallflower woman who you would expect that wants to be dominated. So many times, people are not the type that they are during sex. Yes, the types are accurate. So the types we discuss here are alpha male 1.0, alpha male 2.0, and beta male. 3 types of men. 3 types of women are dominance, submissives and independents. And this is not dominant submissive in terms of BDSM. This is a personality type that has nothing to do with sex. And that's my point. So whatever these people are, if a woman is a submissive and a man is an alpha male, that doesn't mean that if the woman has sex with a guy, a submissive woman has sex with a guy, that she'll want to be submissive. She might want to say, hey, get on your back and I want to be on top. If she's a submissive person in her normal life, that happens. Or the reverse. A strong, confident, dominant woman could want to be dominated. A strong alpha male, 1.0 or 2.0, might like to be dominated during sex. I have spoken with alpha male 2.0s, and they don't like admitting this, but I've spoken with these guys, and they talk about how during sex, only during sex, they're betas. They want a woman to take charge and kind of lead the interaction, only during sex. And they're like, I'm embarrassed to say that because that's not very alpha. And I have to remind them, what you do during sex is not indicative of the rest of your personality. Now, I am not a psychologist. I don't know why this is. I don't understand. And I've tried to figure this out, and I've given this some thought. And my dad is a very accomplished psychologist. I should probably talk to him about this. So I don't know why that is. I don't know why you can be one way in your life, and just during sex, during those, that 28 minutes or whatever you're doing it, you're a completely different person, in some cases the opposite person, and that's what you like and that's what works for you. And then as soon as sex is over, you snap out of it and you're right back to your normal ways. I don't know why that is. I'm just telling you that's the case often. So if you're an alpha male 2.0, and you're a real alpha male 2, you're like me, and you like to be dominated during sex, that's okay. It's all right as long as it ends as soon as you're done having sex. If you're a strong, confident alpha male 1.0 and you like to be dominated during sex, that's okay. If you're a beta male and you like to pin chicks or whatever, or you're a beta and you like to slap women around, you're into BDSM shit only during sex, that's fine. Same thing with women. I have met, as I've mentioned, dominant women who like to be dominated during sex. I have met cute little girly girls who kind of like to take charge during sex. That's less often, that's less common, but I've seen it happen. I don't like that, but whatever, that's the way it goes. So whenever you're trying to pigeonhole yourself in any one of these categories, don't worry if during sex you don't exactly adhere to this. It's okay. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you or that you're not that thing. You still are that thing, most likely. Now, is this all people? No. There are dominant, strong alpha males who are dominant and strong during sex. There are dominant, strong women who are dominant and strong during sex. There are little wafy, wallflower, submissive women who are very submissive during sex, and that's what they like during sex. There are plenty of beta males who are very submissive during sex. Matter of fact, that's probably the norm. Matter of fact, that is the norm. So I would say most beta males are also beta males during sex. And if you don't believe me, you can ask women and they'll tell you all about it. As usual, you can get a lot of valuable information from women on guys they've dated, because most men are betas. And so they date all these betas, and all these betas are very timid during sex. They don't like to take charge. And the woman's saying, you could take charge a little bit. You could slap my ass and pull my hair and choke me a little. You could do that. And they go, oh, that's okay. I don't want to do that, dude. So the norm is people behaving the way they behave in real life during sex. So statistical probabilities now, if you meet a beta male and you're curious about how he is during sex, he's probably that way during sex. If you meet a strong, dominant, kick-ass woman on a first date of dominant, the odds are decent she's going to be dominant during sex too. That's just, the odds are decent. Now, that doesn't mean that necessarily she'll be off the wall dominant. I have said before, and I'll say it again, many dominants are fantastic in bed. Dominant women. So I would never date these women. I can't date a dominant woman. I love dominant women in my social life and in my work life. I love these women. I love hanging out with dominant women. They're great people to hang out with, but I can never date one. But during sex, sometimes, often, the sex dominance is awesome. It's awesome. It's so good. Now, but if they're off the chart dominant and they're bossing you around like that one prison guard chick, then that's not going to work for me, because I need to be the dominant one. So during sex, I need to be, they talk about bottom bitch and top bitch. Well, that's actually very accurate. During sex, and if you've read David Data, Way of the Superior Man, and things like that, you know about this already. There is a yin and yang dynamic. You need to have a dominant person and a submissive person during sex. There's no such thing, not really, as purely satisfying sex between two people who are exactly 50-50. That doesn't exist. That's a myth. Some people will try to imply that exists because we live in a more left-wing egalitarian society these days. but it's not true. During sex, if it is satisfying for both people, there will be a strong dominant person and a weaker, more submissive person every time you have sex. And sometimes that's the man, sometimes that's the woman. Depends on you. For me, I have to be the dominant one. Matter of fact, I'll give you some very personal information right now. I may have even mentioned this before, but my life is an open book. I'm the top bitch. I have to be on top. Okay, I have to be the guy on top. I do not like having sex when I'm on the bottom. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I don't like it. Now, there are rare times where maybe I'll try it for a few minutes just to change things up a little bit, but I don't like it. But there are billions of men on earth who fucking love being on the bottom. They think that's perfect. They lay on the bottom and the girl goes up and down. Oh, this is great. I can just lay on my fat ass and the girl can go up and down and make me feel good. I don't have to do anything. I hate it. Even just describing it right now, my brain, like, ugh. I need to be on the top. I need to be the dominant one. That's what turns me on. That's me now. Now, you may be different. That's fine. Again, if you're different and if you're the recessive one and you're still an alpha male, that's okay. If you're a beta in real life and a beta during sex, okay, issue, but I've talked about that before. That's out of the scope of this podcast. But when I'm on the bottom, occasionally I'll have women who want to do that or they're in the mood for that or whatever. It's harder for me to stay aroused, okay? AKA, it's harder for me to stay hard. I can do it, but it's harder when I'm on the bottom. And it's all mental because I don't like being on the bottom. I don't like it. It feels like I'm the submissive one and I don't like being the submissive one. Now, there are exceptions that rule. Caleb, you can be on the bottom and still be the dominant one. Yes, believe me, I fully understand that. You can be on the bottom and move her and we could get very detailed with the sexual stuff. I don't know how much that YouTube will allow. But anyway, YouTube or all these other podcast platforms we're on. But anyway, yes, I understand that. But that's my point. I am so extreme about being the dominant one during sex that I'm pretty extreme about it. And that's something I need to do. And that doesn't make me less alpha male 2.0. It just doesn't, because outside of sex, I'm right back to not giving a fuck what you do, sweetheart. I don't care what you do. You can even go fuck other guys. I still don't care. I don't care what women do. I just don't care. I never have. Not never have, but I haven't since my conversion to alpha male 2.0, 13, 14, 15 years ago. Now, the bottom line to all this. So that is the description of the concept. Let me give you the bottom line. And this is a statement I have said a lot, and I'm doubling down on this right now. This is really important, and a lot of people don't understand this, or they are, what's the word? They are reluctant about this, or they're embarrassed about this, or they think there's something wrong with this. This is really important, okay? Alpha male, what I'm about to say, alpha male 2.0 is about long-term consistent happiness, okay? So what I'm about to say is a key component of that, and you've got to get that, and a lot of you guys are fucking this up. And that is have sex the way you like to have sex, okay? Not the way your current girlfriend wants to have sex, or your current wife wants to have sex, or whatever FB you're hooking up with wants to have sex. Not the way your parents would approve of you having sex, okay? Not the way society would approve of you having sex. That's big. I'm all against societal programming, which is false. You don't live your life based on societal programming. You live your life based on how you want to navigate through life. Fuck society. Society can go fuck itself. Society doesn't care about you. You shouldn't care about it. Focus on you and what you want, as long as you are honest and ethical, don't lie and don't break the law. I've discussed this in detail in my books, okay? So if you like to have sex with a woman while you're upside down and she's swinging off a chandelier and she's wearing Indian feathers and saying booga, 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 and that's what turns you on, then do that. Don't worry about what anyone thinks. Don't worry what women think. Do that. Find a woman, or ideally women, because we're non-monogamous. Find women, at least two, who like that, or at least think that's fun, and do that. Have sex the way you want. Don't have so many people today in society. It's kind of sad. You would think as society moves more to the political left culturally, that people would be more relaxed about this. But I have found they're actually more uptight about this than they were maybe 30, 40 years ago. There are so many people who are nervous about talking about the way they like to have sex. Well, I shouldn't have sex. I mean, let's say you like to slap girls in the face during sex. Let's take an extreme example. And it's all consensual. It's all consensual. She wants you to slap her in the face. She likes to be slapped in the face. A lot of women like that. Hint, hint. A lot of younger girls like that shit. I've mentioned before how this choking thing is all new. I've noticed this last 10 years that younger women, they like to be choked. That's new in the last 10 years. So many younger girls like to be choked now. Okay, well, let's take a more extreme example. You like to slap women in the face during sex. Consensually. She likes it too. If you come to me and say, I like to slap women in the face, but I shouldn't do it, but that's not cool. I shouldn't do that. And no woman would go for that. And you're wrong. If that's what you like, do that. Obviously discuss it with her first, please. Don't just start having sex on the second date the very first time and you slap her in the face. She'd be like, what the fuck? I've heard stories. Guys are that dumb sometimes. So discuss it first, obviously, okay? If you like to choke chicks, you're in luck because all these millennial chicks, these Zoomer chicks love to be choked. A lot of my FBs like to be choked, all right? And that's kind of cool. I like being the dominant one, so I'll choke a bitch, fine. But my point is, don't worry about what society says. As long as it is mutually consensual and she's of the legal age of consent in your city, I always have to throw those two things in there. It must be mutually consensual and she has to be the age of legal consent in the city where you're having sex or wherever you are. As long as those two things are true, you have sex any way you want. Some guys like to be peed on. Okay, you should see these guys in Secret Arrangement. Oh my God, you should hear the stories these women tell me, the emails they get and the DMs they get on that website, or all these sugar daddies. Hey, I want to pee on you, and then I want to, or no, I want you to pee on me, and then shove your foot down my mouth. And okay, I think that's disgusting and stupid, but who gives a fuck what I think? If that's what you like, then do that. Have sex the way you want and don't feel any guilt about this. And if you like to have sex a very particular way, then you have a job to do. You need to go out into the real world and find women who either like that, because I promise you there are. I don't care what fucking fetish you have or whatever way you're like, or even if it's not a fetish, even if you like to be the bottom bitch and you just like to lay on your back the entire time during sex, you never want to move. I know some guys like that. They just want to lay on their fat asses on their back and literally have the woman do all the work. That's disgusting to me, but who cares what I think? If that's what you like, find women who like that. Find some dominant chick who likes to get on top of your cock and ride that thing like a pony until the cows come home. Fine. So go out into the real world and find the type of women you want. Find the type of women who are into that or at least like it. They don't have to be totally into it, but they can at least like it. And maybe what you do, you could compromise if you want, is, you could do she could do the thing that you like, and then you could do a little bit of what she likes. You could do that too. I mean, that's okay too. Ideally, you want to be 100% compatible. But as I mentioned on prior podcasts, as long as you're within the 80% sexual compatibility range, you're good. I think you don't have to be 100%. I'm not 100% sexually compatible with Pink Firefly, but I'm like 85%, maybe 90% there. But that's good enough for a serious relationship. Certainly good enough for a casual relationship. That's okay. So don't worry about, I like to have sex this way, but that's not very alpha. Or I like to have sex this way, but that's mean. And I shouldn't do that. And I shouldn't do that to women and treat women that way. If it's consensual, who gives a fuck? Cool? I promise you that when I have sex with a woman and she's 100% consenting, and they always are, got to throw that in there. There's all kinds of stuff that I do that that some people would say are mean or not cool. So what? I like it and the women like it. So who cares? And I'm pretty tame. I don't do BDSM shit. I don't do, 50 Shades of Grey, dress in a leather outfit and hang upside down and get whipped. I don't do that stuff. I don't give a shit. And that's my point. You should do whatever you want as long as it's mutually consensual. So don't worry about whether or not it fits into the rest of your lifestyle. Have sex the way you want to have sex. And then go find women who like that, are into that, or at least enjoy it and are cool with it. Don't feel guilty about it. So much guilt about sex. So stupid. Something else, and I've already mentioned this on past podcasts, so I'm not going to go into detail about this. If you are currently dating a woman who doesn't like the way you like to have sex, she needs to go. I'm sorry, she needs to go. I don't care if you're married and she's the mother of your children. You think I would be married to a woman who didn't like the way I like to have sex? You think? No. Are you kidding? Stupid. So if you are dating anyone right now and you're having sex with her and you're embarrassed to tell her or scared to tell her how you really want to do it, but you don't have the balls to do it because you think she'll leave, A, go ahead and have that talk with her and talk to her about it. And B, if she says, ooh, gross, I'm not doing that, or I don't want to do that, she needs to fucking go. I don't care how pretty she is. I don't care how nice she is. I don't care how long you've been seeing her. I don't give a shit. How can you date someone who is sexually incompatible with you? I don't understand when people fucking do this. I do understand it. It's called being a beta and having one-itis. So I do understand it. It's stupid. Don't do this. I wouldn't do that. And yes, I have had sex with a few women in my past and I've mentioned some of those stories on past podcasts, past articles on my blogs. I've talked about some of these stories, including the one I just gave you a few minutes ago. I have had sex with a few women in my past who were totally incompatible with me, and I just moved on. They were nice people. It wasn't their fault. It was perfectly fine. I said, hey, this isn't working. There's one I'm thinking of in particular a long time ago who was just, gosh, she was a sweetheart. Loved her to death. She was great. She was pretty and she was smart, and we really were great together, but we were totally sexually incompatible. And I just had to let her go. And I was nice about it, and I felt bad, and she felt bad, but you got to do that. Why would you have someone in your life long-term or even short-term who's sexually incompatible with you? It's just stupid. The true path of the alpha male 2.0 is that he does whatever he wants as long as it's legal. That's it. And I would add, you don't have to lie to people. I would add that in there. That's it. So this sexual thing applies. Whether or not you're alpha or beta or it's societally acceptable or my mom would approve of it, doesn't fucking matter. And make sure you have women in your life who are compatible with those desires. Have sex the way you want to have sex. Very important. Boy, I could go on and on about that, but I won't. I gotta go. I got things I gotta do. So I will see you very soon. Have fun. Bye.